Parshas Chukas. This week's Parsha contains an episode that in itself is not unusual, but the language that Moshe's emissaries use to attempt to convince Edom is. Let's look at it. So this is in Perek Chaf at Rabbi. That's Psukim Yud Daled through, let's say, Chaf Aleph. That's 14 through 21. So this is the last year of the trek in the wilderness. Aaron dies in this week's Parsha. Miriam dies in this week's Parsha. The entry to Eretz Yisrael is to the land of Israel is becoming a focal point of the trek and of the. It's also involved in Moshe Rabbeinu's passing because he is prevented. God prevents him from going into the land of Israel. So now they're talking about how do we get there. So Moshe figures that the easiest way is to cut through the area, the territory that is owned by Edom and Esav, Seir. They're the nation of Edom, the Edomites. So Moshe sends emissaries. Vaishlach Moshe malachim. Moshe sends emissaries. A malach sometimes means an angel. It means an agent. My Rabbi, Rabbi Soloveitchik, said that any means that the Almighty uses to accomplish a purpose can be termed a malach, and a malach is also an emissary or a messenger. So Moshe sends emissaries, mi Kodesh, that's where they were in the area of Kodesh, el Melech Edom, to the king of Edom. Komar achicha Yisrael, so says your brother Israel. And now he's going to ask, can we please pass through can I bring my people through your land? We won't disturb anything. We won't take anything without compensation. We just want a shortcut. So it might be helpful in reading the next few verses to think, how would you plead your case to the king of the land that you want to use as your shortcut? So here's what Moshe directs his emissaries to say. This is the message. So says your brother Israel. You know all the travail that we encountered, or that found us. Our forefathers went down to Egypt, and we dwelled in Egypt for a long time, many years. And Egypt dealt badly with us and with our fathers. Vanitzak el Hashem, and we cried out to God. Vayishmak Holeinu, and he heard our voice. Vayishlach malach vayotzeinu Mitzrayim, and he sent an agent, an emissary, more an agent in this case. Rashi says it refers to Moshe Rabbeinu. He sent a leader to get them out, to redeem them. V'nei anachnu b'kadesh yirtzek v'lach, we're in Kadesh, which is right on your border. Nabra no b'artzecha, let us pass your land. Lo navor baseda v'kerem, we won't go in your fields, we won't trample anything, not in your vineyards. Lo nishteh be'er, we won't drink your water, your well water. Okay, this part sounds right. Why the language? It almost echoes what we say in the Haggadah on the Seder, at the Seder on Pesach night. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu saying, we went down to Egypt, our forefathers went down to Egypt, and the Egyptians treated all of us very badly, and we cried out to God, and God sent an agent, and he redeemed us? What is going on? Why all of this apparently extraneous detail? It's like, okay, it happened, but why are you telling that to the king of Edom? And you can ask further. Earlier, Moshe says, your brother. He refers to Bnei Yisrael as your brother. Ko Amar Achicha Yisrael. So says your brother Israel. What? Why? So Rashi actually raises this question. Apparently there's an embedded message here, which is, uncharacteristically, Rashi actually formulates the question as a question. Ma ra'ah lahaskir kan achva. What did Moshe see? What was his rationale for mentioning this brotherhood? Ella amarlo. This is what he told him. This is the subtext. Achim anachnu b'nei Avraham. We are brothers, the sons of Abraham. Shenemar lo, to whom it was said, Kiger yihiyeh zar acha. Your descendants, Zarcha is literally seed, it means your descendants will be strangers in a strange land. So who are Abraham's descendants? Well, Yitzchak and Yaakov, but also Esav. Esav was Yaakov's twin. He's also a descendant. We both had this obligation to pay. But you know what? Only we paid it. We met this obligation. You did not. You got off scot-free. The least you can do is let us pass through your land. Rashi continues on, you know all the troubles. Lefikach perish avichem me'al avinu. And because of that, your father separated from us. He didn't want anything to do with us. You may recall that Esau says, I'm going to die. Why do I need the status of the firstborn? In other words, he shirked his responsibility. So, Vayelech el Eretz mipnei Yaakov achiv. And as it says in Bereshis Lamed Vav, in Genesis 36, it says that he went to a different land because of that. And Rashi says it means mipnei hashtar chov hamutal aleihem v'hitilo al Yaakov. He escaped Rashi uses the language of a shtar chov, which is a promissory note, a contract of obligation. And so your father slipped away from this obligation and left our father holding the bag. That's the subtext here. The simple explanation is that Bnei Yisrael are trying to, and Moshe, in conveying the message, is trying to create some kind of commonality, some kind of shared ancestry. We're family. Do us a solid, please. Moshe assures them that they won't take anything without compensation. As a matter of fact, Rashi says that Moshe knew that they had sustenance, but he said, we'll buy you, we'll help your economy. You have new customers. We'll buy water from you. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for us. Let's do this. What's the response? And then we're going to go back and talk about this Haggadah-like addition. What is the response? Is Edom persuaded? No. Vayimoyin Edom, Nison es Yisrael avor b'gulo. They refuse. Now, that's in verse 21. In verse 20, they say, Vayomer lo savor, no, you will not pass. Vayetze Edom lekroso ba'am kaved uviod chazaka. And Edom went out to meet them with a heavy population and armed with weapons. As a matter of fact, they say explicitly, this is going back now 18. Yudches vayomer lo Edom lo savor B, you're not going to pass by me. Pen b'cherev etzei lekrosecha. Because if you do, I'm going to meet you with implements of destruction, with the cherev, with the sword. We're going to fight. What's going on? So the Meshech Chochma explains, this is quoted in the Sefer Shari Aaron. Meshech Chochma says that when a people breaks off the shackles of slavery, when a people rebels, typically they rebel, they revolt, there's a revolution, it's violent, and then these aren't his words exactly, but the picture he paints is they become something akin to marauders. And we've seen this ourselves. Just think of Syria recently that collapsed. Think of Libya. Think of Iraq. Whenever there's revolution, it's bloody. Who wants a gang of marauders in their country? So Moshe anticipates this. He says, look, Edom, the king of Edom, certainly will not be convinced if he thinks we're a band of revolutionary marauders who are going to wreak havoc in his land. And I can tell him, no, don't worry, but who knows? So instead, he has to paint the picture of we did not rise up in rebellion. We did not throw off the shackles. It was all God and his agent. As a matter of fact, the Egyptians enslaved us and they were bad to us, and it was only because we called out to God that we were able to be saved. We are not a band of marauders. We're not violent people. We're just trying to find our way to our homeland. So Rashi on the verse on 18 where the king of Edom says, I'm going to meet you with a sword if you're there. He says, you atem miskaim bekol shorishchem avichem. You are very proud of the fact that you can pray and get results. That you inherited your father's talent, predilection, ability to pray to God and to be answered. He says, V'amartem v'nitzak el Hashem v'yishma kolenu. You say we called out to God and He heard our voice. That's great. V'ani etzei alechem b'ma shehorisheni avi. And I will come out and meet you with what I inherited from my father, which is what? Part of the bracha, v'al charbecha tichya. You will live by your sword. Edom says, we are fighters. We're not lovers. You may be lovers, you may be prayers, you may be pious people, but we're fighters. You come near us, we're going to fight you. Doesn't make a difference what you say, what travail you went through. And Moshe, in fact, skirted Edom, and they did not go inside of Edom. We see from here that it's almost as though Edom is a man with a hammer, and as they say, to a man with a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. In other words, Edom fights. Edom kills. Edom engages with violence. Israel engages with prayer. Now, sometimes they have to fight, but that's not the default. The default is prayer. The default is invoking the help of God. The default for Edom, it's just blood. It's just violence. And we also see from here that sometimes you can be very sincere, you can have a legitimate argument, but if you're dealing with somebody who does not share your values, you may not see success in your attempt to interact with him. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It may mean that he's 100% wrong, but you won't be successful because you do not share the same values. If you share the same values, the chances are greater that you will be able to reach a peaceful resolution. And if you don't, the chances are much diminished. We are a people of prayer. We invoke God's help. We don't shy away from battle, but that's not our first resort. With the help of God, we succeed. And we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the Almighty for the success that we've seen over the past several weeks, months, years, as a result, presumably, of our prayer and the capabilities of our able defenders. Have a good Shabbos.